I'm just sitting here thinking something about the meek inheriting the earth and how this is, on so many levels, just the reclaiming of one's power here on the personal level from various mindsets, perspectives, choice making, criteria. So, the ways that we actually make our decisions and unburdening ourselves from our conditioning and the knowledge that others have projected into our beingness and reclaiming our full freedom from that, our full gnosis and wisdom from somewhat from the outside looking in, those of us who have sort of been alien in our experience, star seeds, light workers, energy workers, and so on, shamans, and those that have seen through the various veils, and how we can even talk about how the symbology of the sacred marriage, the veil, and removing the veil from the bride in this case kind of symbolizes the extreme vulnerability and the witnessing of the person's inner depths. You know, when you marry an individual, they become part of your family, and then the dynamic becomes that where you see the best and the worst of an individual generally in some time. And so we're talking about the meek inheriting the earth because it came to me that when we're looking at things like sociopaths, it was coming through as a society path where we are taught again and again to ignore the individual perceptions and adapt and adopt all that we're told to believe about everything that we see. And it becomes a form of culturing of things, people, places, and it becomes a bit of more solidity to the divine matrix when folks start to take up collective belief in a structure. And it's coming through specifically with hierarchical thinking, hierarchy in the family, authority and followers, and how generations or peoples influence each other with beliefs about their power and their effectiveness and whether they should or should not believe a thing or say a thing or whatever. Everyone has an answer for what is the truth that we should believe that is more something that was someone else's and not even the person that's espousing it. Espousing is an interesting word in the moment with the veil reference. It's like we snatch the veil away from our own eyes, and it's the veil is also sacred. It protects sacred sovereignty, and so we're talking about the threshold here of stepping through that extreme radical vulnerability of taking one's own veil and choosing to adorn ourselves in a new way with that veil, and choosing to see, choosing to be, choosing to speak, and to be different. And there's the Yaima, I think it's Yaima is how you pronounce that song. I don't know the name of it. It was coming through about challenging all of our orders, change it from the edges. There's always a new leader, there's always a new order. And it was talking about some type of divine perfection. And again, with the meek, it's like I was really getting that perhaps one of the boldest and most extreme and radical expansion parts of our journey is where the meek inherits their own divine power which is so much more than the society paths can reckon with, and it makes one a target. Some of us have been this type of way from very early times, and even have tapped into various levels of Akashic knowledge and wisdom, and we can read the signs, the synchronicities and symbols of various other things, whether it be quantum or music or color codes, words, vibrations, song, dance, creativeness. But it's mostly interactions with people and how we are sacred keys, gatekeepers, and so on for all of humanity. And to the extent that we're this social chameleon, when we are finally able to be this consciously, intentionally, and divinely, I feel that we are gaining the freedom, the freedom of self-validation, that this is really what we're doing, is we're changing the world. We're told that we are ineffective, but when there are many of us out here living the literal dream, whose dream are we walking in? And we can become lucid in the moment. We can challenge all these orders that have been given and instructed and projected, and we can reclaim all that we are. And as Lao Tzu says, that keeps coming up, as we change all of ourselves internally, it's reflected in the outer. It's the correspondence vibration. My nose is so itchy here. It's like I'm onto something here. But yeah, so challenging all of the things that you think that you can and cannot do and are capable or not capable of creating in this time. I feel that we are prepared. We've been wise and diligent all along, and we've been creating spaces, we've been holding vibrations, we've been creating some type of product or vision, or gathering momentum. We're all set up. We have all of the pieces, and we are the shapeshifters of our realities, where we can plug into the various portals of all that is, all these people, all these potentials. And so it's up to us to be specific and directed and focused and grounded on what we choose to bring into this time frame, because this is an enormous manifestation portal going through. It's been a minute. All of this last year, we've been doing all of these sacred preparations and so much sacred work that I feel like our blessings are exponential, and that as we open our energies, that is where we are receiving, that is where we're understanding, because that's another form of receiving, getting those downloads, really being secure and confident and courageous and fearless, with being self-evident of our gifts and our forward momentum, and all of that energy and momentum is going into the next phase of what we choose to create with this moment. And our manifestation energy is just literally creating this aura of power and leadership, and others can sense it. And if we are not used to this, it can feel a little different. It can feel like others are still looking at us as though we're the outsider we were programmed to believe that we were, but they're looking at us with wonder, and it will trigger some towards envy and others towards self-inspiration or collaboration. But there are so many more opportunities and benefits and self-fulfillment to wearing that energy and doing the damn thing right off the bat, just doing it for you. It's like when we do things because other people need us, or we do things because we think we should, then the energy just isn't there. It isn't aligned with the divine spark that wants to create and co-create with us in this world, in this matrix. It's the divine co-creatrix. And, then when we are in alignment, then things go through and work out so much faster. And so I just really wanted to close with talking about how the emotional spectrum is so interconnected with the vulnerability. It's like, well, what emotions are safe? Which things can I express, or should I, or will I be seen in a specific type of color or hue as a certain type of stereotype, or against invoking judgments? We need to move beyond all of those faulty thinking mindsets that we were programmed to believe were the truth, where most people are just living their own lives and trying to get on with their own business. And if they are thinking any judgments about us, it doesn't have any bearing on our reality generally. Gossips and rumors within tight proximity can be an issue for some, but ultimately those low vibrations no longer need define us, because we can be the outsider and challenge that specifically by just letting our lives be evidence of the truth. And then the person or persons in the lower vibrational mindsets are going to cleave together, and they'll be fine, and they'll be out of our way, and we'll keep on living our best lives going forward. So call it in, make that space, and understand that if you've got some sacred rage, it's all right to be able to give that a voice. 1111. And to transmute that appropriately, that's exactly where we've got to take this, is to find appropriate outlets. Any type of sacred rage is creation energy, it's passion energy. And how do we appropriately funnel that? Even if we're working towards our goals, doing it from anger versus the sacred rage is much different. And I'll leave that for you to unpack, because that's going to be subjective to your journey, how you define those limits and what feels good and what does not feel good. For myself, I believe that sacred rage could be very, very healthy to channel into some type of physical activity, movement, stretching at the least, and also things that are like ecstatic dance and martial arts, things of that nature, creativity, vision, speech, advocacy, being motivated to shift and change your own lifestyle to reflect a life that makes you feel that you've done your part, type of thing. Just talking about greater alignment. And yeah, so stay grounded, and let me know what your thoughts are on that. As the meek inherit their own power and reclaim their own power, and stand firm in that knowledge, and let their lives be a beacon of liberation versus hierarchy, then we no longer are going to be creating lives, for the most part, that depend on some type of central boss to give us orders. We can think for ourselves. We can act and impact our lives and our worlds per our own designs and ideals, and we can get on with things. And so definitely there's a lot to get to this. I will be doing the Daily Dharma later, so check that out. And I'll leave you there, folks. Sending so much love and empowerment for you on your journey, and take care.